Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Sulaiman, your children's Arabic teacher from seedsofilm.com. Just making a little video for the tutors and for the parents out there. And in one of my lessons, some of my students noticed that there was a pack of cards up on my shelf. So today I wanted to do a little review of them. I do know personally the people who have created these cards, and I have taught through them, and I've watched them be used in lessons, and I've tutored a lot of my own private students with them. I'm not being paid to make this video at all. I do have a link in the description that you can go to and buy them, and I'll get a commission on that if you do buy them. But this is a completely sincere review. I am going to give you some limitations perhaps of these cards, and but if you do buy them, if they are the sort of thing that you are looking for, and obviously I do recommend them if they are in line with your objectives, then I'd really appreciate it if you'd buy them through me. So what are they? You'll get a pack of cards like this, and they're called I Love Quran, and this is the pack for Surah An-Nas. I know that they've finished doing Surah Al-Falaq. I don't know if they're available yet though, but I definitely know Surah An-Nas are available, and I've taught these as well. I've used them in a lesson myself. I've taught them myself. So, essentially in the pack you have a card for each word in the entire surah, and you'll have like an accompanying meaning cards. And what comes in the pack as well is you'll have a little card that shows you various facts about the surah. So you'll know straight from the beginning how many ayahs it has, where it was revealed, if it was revealed in Mecca or revealed in Medina. So there's like a profile of the surah. That's one of the cards that'll be in there. Another one is just like a little index of what the different colours mean, because it's really good, like use of visual strength that children have for visual learning, to use different colours for different types of grammar in there. So, for example, verbs are red, and names and attributes of Allah are in green, and prepositions are in blue. So that's quite nice as well. You see on some of the cards, so it's nice to sort of separate, so children can see when you have bi rabbi. That's bi, that's the preposition. Rabb, that's one of the names or attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have that in there as well. And then you even have a guide on how to use them. There's like a 4-step guide on how to use them, how to use these cards, going up through different levels of difficulty. So you can test the children, first of all, is on their memory. So the first thing that you would do is you would hand them the cards that have qul. Well, you wouldn't have bi rabbi, you'd have qul a'udhu bi rabbi and Nas, but the same way that I had then, they shouldn't be in that order. You give them to children, they line them up in that order. At the beginning, you might want to drill them through first, like that's what I did when I was teaching them. You go, قُل أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. So you go through all of them, and then you give the children the opportunity to order them themselves, which is particularly good for the younger ones. Like when I was teaching them, I was teaching children like 7 years and above, and most Muslim children who are 7, they know this sort of anyway, so we didn't really need that step so much. So on one side of the cards you have where you have the English, but on the other side you have these visual clues. So for the second level, you'd give the children the Arabic cards, and they have visual clues. So they have a picture, an image for say, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind. So they would just look at the images. They'll just look at the images that have the English with them as well. So they have the Arabic and the images with the English. That's like level 2. And then when you step up, you make it a little bit harder. You just take away the images. So on the other side, there's say with an image. On the other side, there's just say with no image. And that's the only difference. That takes it up to level 3. That's the only difference really at all. So and then the 4th level, there's really nice incorporation of kinesthetic learning into the 4th part, and that's the last part, and that's when children learn an action to go with each of the words, and it'll be particularly useful, I think, when they start making the cards up to longer surahs in Juz' Amma, and even other surahs as well, because in Surah An-Nas, and this is kind of one of the limitations, I think, is that most children have memorized it anyway, so they don't necessarily need an action for it. But maybe they do need an action to know the English meaning as well. It is very likely that the children who have memorized it don't actually know what it means. So that is quite nice as well. So for example, what it would be like, the way you would teach it is like قُل is like this. قُل أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. They've used this sign for Nas because Nas is talking about the whole of mankind, like the world, the whole of the world, basically. what was really interesting is my wife and I, we both know BSL, we both know British Sign Language, and when I was talking about the creation of these cards, I was discussing with the creators of them, like, well, why did you use this? Because this means say. This means say in BSL. I asked if they had sort of been informed by BSL on which they used, and that they said, you know, only to a certain extent, because, you know, like people is this, people. But they've used this for people, for mankind. So it doesn't always line up with BSL, which, to be honest, I don't think there is any real need for it to line up with BSL. It'd just be a cool little skill that the kids would learn as well, without even realising it. So, just a little closer look. I think it would be nice to have a little closer look at each of these. Some things that I really like is that it mentions the number of times, the frequency that word is mentioned in the Quran, and what its root is. In my own curriculum, those of you who've been on my website, my curriculum, Seeds of Ilm Level 1 is a course that I teach. It's a course I've written myself. There's a real emphasis on children understanding that Arabic words have roots. And then having like a more kind of holistic understanding of the language through that, and understanding roots. And I really like they've included the roots of each of the words, on each of the Arabic words. So like qala, you like looking at qala, the word qul, you probably wouldn't know that the root is qaf, waw and lam. Qaf, waw and lam. So that is really nice. That's something that I really like about it. And an awareness of grammar as well. Like my courses are quite grammar heavy, whilst they are written to be like diverse and fun and multi-sensory and stuff for the children to learn. Like I do think a good command of your own language's grammar is really important. So I really like that they've included verbs and stuff. So loads of positives. Like I've got loads of positives to say about this, and even since I stopped teaching with the people who created this, I've even used these myself in my own private lessons. But in terms of limitations, I would say, you know, like £6.99 they are. Last time I checked, they were £6.99. And for one surah, you know, like for one surah you might do it once you've learnt it. I mean, that's £6.99. Like it's not sustainable to learn the entire Quran like that. It's £6.99 for every, you know, 5 ayahs or 6 ayahs, maybe. But I don't know. That's not necessarily like a long-term limitation. That doesn't have to be a problem. You know, you can end up, maybe they will do a deal where you can buy in bulk or something like that, or maybe they'll remake packs where you can do topics from the Quran rather than whole surahs of the Quran, and you can do word for word topics rather than word for word entire surahs. Like that way, you'd be able to cover more ground with less cards or something. But obviously, you know that I use cards that you might have seen in another video. I'll leave a link in the description to it where I talk about playing snaps, and I have different color cards which I laminate, and with that approach, I've used those cards for this as well. Like I've been doing this with my laminated cards, which, you know, cost me like £10 to make. And I've taught almost the entire Quran using those, and so that's another alternative. But obviously, they're nowhere near as detailed. Like what I create is nowhere near as detailed as what the I Love Quran cards are doing. So I think it's really, really nice, especially for your little ones at home. A little game that you can play just to teach children that there is word for word meaning, and there is meaning of these entire surahs. Obviously, that is what we need to focus on. Really, I was telling the creators of these cards that once I was in our masjid here in Cornwall, and there was a young girl being taught Quran. She was practicing her Quran with the imam, and the imam explained to her what an ayah meant, what one of these ayahs meant, and she said to him, "Oh, like I didn't realize it had a meaning." I think of that, she was on like Surah Al-Talaq. Like she knows two juz of the Quran. She'd never even considered that maybe these ayahs have a meaning. So like there's huge need for things like this. There's huge need for us to make the Quran more accessible, meanings more accessible for our children, and obviously that's what my whole website is about. That's what my whole mission is about. If please go and check out my website. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well, inshallah. So that's everything from me for now. Maybe when they do the Surah Al-Falaq cards, I'll do a little review of those Falaq cards as well. Maybe just run through them as well. Maybe make some video lessons for the children. If you'd like a video where I use these for the children, then let me know, inshallah, and I'll create that for you. So if you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you did, please don't forget to like and share it, and don't forget to go to my website as well and have a look at that, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.